Alright, so hey everybody, it's me Boju here again. So today I wanted to make a kind of different video. This is not a weapon review, but it's still a review of sorts. So I want to review Li, because it's gotten a lot of changes in 1.20, a very big one being CCI. So I thought it would be cool to make a sort of guide, sort of review, my thoughts on bosses, explaining the bosses, stuff like that. I think I'm qualified to do this because I've ran Li quite a lot. I have a medallion. Well, I had a medallion. I don't have anymore, but I've gotten one. I think I have like around 120 runs at this point. So yeah, pretty qualified. So without further ado, I guess let's start it. So, I'm going to assume everybody here knows what Li is and how it works in a way. There's 10 bosses, and the first one's Mummy Board. Mummy Board is actually sometimes one of the harder bosses because I feel like Mummy Board, it's got a lot of tough spells. It's got, this unpredictable heavy teleport, which can really screw you over if you're not careful. It's also got a pretty rapid ranged attack. And also, of course, heavy flamethrower. I think the best way to tackle this boss is just to outrange it if you're not able to, as assassin or, some shaman, assassin, warrior, then I highly recommend just being aware, like, just avoid the boss, get out when you see that it's casting a lot of, those white particles, knowing that spells are going to be coming your way. And also, try to strafe it to avoid the projectiles. Next up, you're going to be facing Virus Doctor. Now, unlike Mummy Board, it's only got a single phase, but it's got about 900,000 or 800,000 health total, so quite a lot. And it's got this heavy-hitting ranged attack, which is surprisingly accurate because I'm pretty sure it's pretty fast. And its main gimmick is that its attack, or its big attack, is just explosion spam. So it's going to charge and then explode. Or then it sometimes casts Arrow Storm, as you've seen in the video, but I think it's, if I recall correctly, it's more rare than Heavy Explosion. So the way to tackle this boss would just be to strafe it, and even more than with Mummy Board, make sure that you actually avoid its spells. Also, as a tip for this boss, when it starts a new spell combo, the first spell is always a non-lethal spell or like a non-damaging spell. It's not going to be Explosion. So that's a pretty decent tip to remember for the Virus Doctor fight. After Virus Doctor, the next boss you're facing is, of course, Corcus Accipientis, which his gimmick is that it just has a ton of phases with different mobs that have different spells. The only really relevant phase is the second one I'm fighting in the video currently, and it is actually pretty terrifying. It likes to teleport spam, it has rapid ranged attacks, and also meteor spam. This is actually, like, that phase alone makes Corcus Accipientis somewhat of a threat, but overall, Corcus Accipientis is one of the easier bosses. It would definitely be the easiest if second phase wouldn't exist. After Corcus Accipientis, we get to the damage dummy. Metrogen Idol has 10 phases, so even more than Corcus Accipientis, but really none of the phases can attack. The only two that can really pose a threat are phase 4 and 5 because it's got charge spam. But as long as you have enough DPS or tank, you're going to be fine, especially since the mob spell damage got nerfed in 1.20. A really easy boss. It just kind of sits there. Just don't get hit by its flamethrower in first phase or the charge spam in 4th and 5th. Now, after Corcus Accipientis, we get to alright, next one. Alright, so after that waste of time, next up is the actually hard boss. Death Metal is probably, in my opinion, the second hardest boss in Li, if not the hardest for Archer at least. But yeah, Death Metal basically, it's got two phases, and the gimmick is that it's got a ton of minions. It's a copy from, Tower of Ascension Death. And a lot of these minions really hit hard and make it, like, challenging to actually focus fire on Death Metal itself, which, by the way, also hits like a truck. The minions you should watch out for, in my opinion, as Archer or as any, like, glassy class, I'd say Wired Beast, because its heavy charge can literally one-shot you. I was trying to record a video for this with Weathered, and I literally just randomly got one-shot. So yeah, other bosses that are kind of hard or can pose annoyance is Alkivo and also Glitch Doctor. Glitch Doctor just shoots you and it can kind of somehow stun lock you. Death Metal itself is also really tough. In first phase, it shoots out these like burst fire projectiles, as well as has the spell combo for a ton of multi-hits, and also has anti-knockback, so yet again, makes it somewhat hard for Archer. In the second phase, it's a little easier. It's only got a shotgun blast and, the same multi-hit attack. But if you're a close quarters class, especially Warrior, you may really struggle with phase 2. So yeah, pretty much, Death Metal is actually a hard fight. After Death Metal, you get a bit of a breather, because the next boss is Mechropter of Worlds, aka the only boss that doesn't have crowd control immunity. Of course, it's got fast speeds and can stun lock you and stuff, but after you've had to deal with crowd control immunity for literally every single boss before this just feels like a joke if you have any sort of stun. I mean, Mechropter was already easy in 1.19 compared to other bosses, but now it's like piss easy. Of course, it got a little buff in the sense that it's got quite a lot of health now, especially in phase 2. I think it's got over 1 million health total. But still, since it can't really do anything against you, it just kind of sits there blinded. It really poses no threat. In addition to its basic stun lock attack, it also has multi-hit, but like, when do you ever get hit by multi-hit? Like, ever? Pretty much easy boss, that's about it. After Mechropter, it's, of course, time for Robob, and Robob as a fight, in my opinion, is actually kind of challenging. Robob, it's got 4 phases, and all of them have quite a lot of health, and literally every single phase hits hard. Like, this is when stuff starts to get serious. Robob is probably on par with Death Metal in terms of, the challenge. The first phase is easy in Robob, but, and I think second phase is fairly easy, but third and fourth are actually, they can be pretty tough. Basically, the first 2 phases are ranged phases. I guess they are supposed to be Archer and Mage. Robob can cast stuff like Arrow Storm and stuff. But it gets serious in phase 3, where Robob is supposed to be an assassin. It can have this 7 times multi-hit attack, as well as this Vanish that can actually kind of fool you, because Robob and Vanish is surprisingly fast. It can really catch up to you if you're not careful. But yeah. After phase 3, you have the hardest and last phase. Phase 4, the Warrior phase, where it just charge stacks and does heavy explosion in literally every spell I hate. And this can actually, I think after it dips to 100k health, it just starts to do this crazy combo, and you just need to burst it down quick. Yeah. As for the minions, they're not really an issue. If you wanna, you could kill the Water Sword, because it's the one with the ranged attack. But they're basically just if you have a Mana Steel weapon, just get steals off that. That's all. Now, as another specific Wynncraft YouTuber referred to the next boss as the Flying Fluff Ball of Destruction, we've got Cybel. Now, honestly, I don't know if I would agree with that statement anymore, because I feel like Cybel compared to Death Metal and Robob and of course Dr. Legendary isn't that bad anymore. It's more of an annoyance, because phase 2 and phase 4 last way too long, and sometimes they bug out and you can just sit there waiting for phase 4 and 2 to end because it's bugged. Basically, Cybel's gimmick is 3 phases are actually ones that you're supposed to kill, and 2 and 4 are ones that you just need to wait out, and it's going to self-destruct. It's got spells such as Charge and Meteor, which it does in phase 2 and 4, and they're the actually challenging phases, basically. You kind of got to be mindful of those. Cybel doesn't actually have too much health in phase 1, 3, and 5, meaning that you can pretty easily kill it. It's not really a big deal. Overall, Cybel's a pretty easy fight, but I think it's got a decently high skill cap. If you don't know what you're doing or don't know what to expect, it can be a very tough fight, but if you've done it a lot, it's very trivial. Now, finally, after Cybel, you get to the last and hardest boss, obviously. It's Dr. Legendary. Dr. Legendary used to be quite easy in 1.19, but since then it's gotten a lot of buffs, and also it's gotten crowd control immunity, which makes this fight pretty hard. In first phase, it just likes to spam teleport, and also its projectile attack, which hits like a truck. You need to avoid that, and I don't think it has flamethrower in first phase anymore. Nope, it does. But it's also got that in second phase, and there you need to kind of watch out for flamethrower. In second phase, it doesn't have a ranged attack anymore, luckily, but it's got a ton of spells, teleport, movement spells, and a pretty hard-hitting melee attack, but you rarely get hit by it. As well as, of course, flamethrower spam. Second phase is definitely the easiest in Dr. Legendary, in my opinion, though. In third phase, Dr. Legendary gets another ranged attack, and I'm pretty sure it's even more hard-hitting than the first phase ranged attack. and it starts to spam push, pull, heavy explosion, and also teleport. You need to have really pretty good arena awareness for this fight, as well as be mindful of what the Doctor Legendary is going to cast next, because if you go in and attack it during a bad moment, you can easily get one shot. You see in the footage, well, okay, to be fair, I wasn't playing very good in this fight. I don't know why. It was probably because of the FPS drops as well, but I got hit, and it like a single hit got me down to half health. In the fight, even though you need arena awareness, it's not necessarily because of the explosives. They really don't do anything. I don't think I've ever been killed by them, or maybe once because I tabbed out or something. But they're pretty irrelevant. Unfortunately, you can't get steals off of them anymore. They're unkillable. But you just kind of walk past them. You don't need to care about them. But yeah, that's about it. Doctor Legendary, hard fight. Make sure to avoid Doctor Legendary at all costs when it's doing spells, and also try not to get it stuck next to a wall like here, because it's really hard to approach Doctor Legendary if it gets near a war, especially as Assassin or Shaman, Assassin, Warrior. But yeah, that's done. Hope you enjoyed the video. That was the Legendary Island review and or descriptions for all the bosses. Yeah, what can I say? Something to say about Legendary Island. I think it's pretty fun after 1.20. Of course, crowd control immunity, which most bosses have, made it somewhat more challenging, but I still like it. The only fights that I kind of dislike are probably Death Metal and, of course, the Ayabot, which is totally unnecessary and, like, just game design-wise very outdated. Honestly, it could just do with removing it. But yeah, that was about it. Hope you liked. Tell me what videos I should make next. I'm open to ideas. That's about it. See ya.